I think it's on a loop. Hey guys. Okay. Just getting in here. Let's see if we've got any people in here. Oh my goodness, there is a ton of people already in here. We'll give it a few more minutes. Let some more people show up. Welcome to the channel, guys. We hit 10,000 subscribers. Thank you very much for everybody who subscribed. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and click on the subscribe button and hit the bell icon if you want to know about these live streams that I'm doing. What do we see here? We are live. Okay. Let's see where we'll do a head count here. Where we got Chicago, Wyoming, another Wyoming. We're the same person again. We've got Wisconsin. Okay. Oh yeah, we've got a whole bunch of people. Alberta, Canada. Toronto. Colorado. Look at that. Amazing. I'm on 4 a.m. What time zone is Colorado? Colorado is Mountain Standard Time. It's just it's a few minutes past, it's just 1 minute past 9 p.m. right now. Okay, we'll wait for a few more people to jump in here, and then we'll get this thing going. Arizona, Essex, UK, Nebraska, Lubbock, Texas, more UK, Germany, Connecticut. I tell you, I am always amazed at the amount of people that are in here from all over the place. Ontario, Oregon. Yeah, it's snowing here too. It's not snowing right now, but it did snow, and it is mighty cold. I had to switch over to the thick shirts here. Sundance says howdy. Hey, Sundance. New York City, Helsinki. Wow, very cool. Arizona, Jacksonville. Awesome. Okay, I think we got about 100 people in here right now, so that's pretty cool. Okay, so tonight, wow, we have a treat for you guys tonight. So several years ago, my wife and I went to a birthday party in Las Vegas, and this party was it was basically some people. It was two different people's birthday. It was two people that used to be in Scientology that were no longer in Scientology. And one of these, a bunch of the people that were there were former executives in the Scientology organization, and that had since left. And most of these people hadn't been involved in Scientology for at least a decade. No one there had been involved with Scientology for less than a decade, I'd say, at this point. And we went to this party. There was probably about 200 people there, and I'd say maybe 20 or 30 of the entire amount of those people were these ex-Scientologists, including the two people's birthday that were having the party. And most of the other people that were there just their friends and family. And the birthday was being held at a casino, a banquet hall in a casino in Las Vegas. So Claire and I can't remember. I'm pretty sure we lived in Colorado at that point. So we flew out to Vegas for this party, and we hung out in Vegas for the weekend kind of thing. And the party was one of the things that we did. Anyway, when we were going into the banquet hall, when we first got there, everybody was just filing in from the casino or wherever else they were, and the party was going to start at whatever time. And as we were filing into this banquet hall, I noticed these two dudes that were sitting on a sofa right outside the banquet hall. And one of them was holding a camera, but he was holding it. He was sitting on the sofa, but he was holding the camera like this. And literally, all these people are walking into this party, and this guy is just videoing everybody. as they're walking in with his phone. And we were some of the last people to go in. So they had likely videoed every single person that was on their way into this party. And as soon as I was walking near the door, I clocked this guy. And then I told my wife, hey, hold on a second. And I told the woman who was the organizer of the party, I said, hey, I think there's a PI over there recording everybody going in. And all of the ex-Scientologists were there. I'd say a good amount of them had been harassed by Scientology and Scientology hired private investigators on multiple occasions. And most people that have been in Scientology and then they leave Scientology, they know that Scientology is going to, harass you and be up to no good after you leave, especially if you speak out against Scientology. So, anyway, so I told her, I didn't want to make a big scene necessarily, but I said, hey, I think there's a PI over there recording everybody. I'm going to go light him up and then, kick him out of the party. And so, so I went over to him and I said, hey, yo, get up. You're leaving. And, he kind of was like, what? And I was like, you're recording everybody, obviously we're not stupid. Get up. You're out of here. And as I was walking out and following this guy, I said, wait a minute. There was a guy sitting right next to him that during all this kerfluffle, this guy didn't ever even look up. He was reading like a little pamphlet and he didn't even look up at me when I was yelling at the guy sitting on the other side of the sofa from him. Anyway, so I said, okay, mental note. I took this guy all the way down these escalators out of the banquet hall area where we were. And then as I was coming back up to the party, back up the escalators of the party, I thought, oh, you know what? I should get my phone out and I should record this because I didn't record that kicking that first guy out and nobody else did. Pretty much everybody was inside the party. And so as I was coming up the escalator, I get out my camera, and I'll just tell you right off the bat, so you can watch this when I play the video. I'm just about to play the video, but this guy didn't have a phone. He had a pen, and this is a Sharpie, but it was just a black pen, but it had a little blue LED light at the top of it. And I don't know if you guys have ever used a pen before, but most of them don't have blue LED lights on the top of them. This pen that he had was a camera pen. And the craziest thing in the world was that my wife had bought me the same exact pen as sort of like a gag gift the year before. So as soon as I walked back up and I remembered, okay, this guy didn't react, which is really super weird. If someone comes up to somebody and starts there's a confrontation and then the one person tells the other guy to get out of here. And then if you're right next to that and you don't ever look up, then it's going to be like, that's not natural. So, and that's really the way you can pick out a lot of these PIs when they're doing stuff is they're not always natural. The smooth ones are pretty good, but the younger ones, they're kind of just like they stick out kind of in these kind of situations. Anyway, so let's get right to it. I'm going to play you this video, and then we'll do probably. I'll stay in here so we can. I'll comment on it or we'll see what how it goes here. I might stop and start it, but here we go. There we go. Look at the camera. That's the camera he's holding right in his hand there.
That was pretty smooth, dude. That was pretty smooth. I like how I chased your buddy off, but you stayed. That was pretty awesome. Yeah, let's see this. You're recording me. Wow, in a public place. Okay. At a private party. It's a birthday party. That's awesome. Well, you're recording the sofa now. So I hope you get some really good footage of that.
Thanks, buddy.
You know what's pretty awesome? Is that I smoked your buddy out in about 2 seconds, and it took me about 5 more seconds to smoke you out. And the best part of it is I have that exact same camera pen Isn't that awesome? I love you PI guys, because you spend money. You spend their money, and that limits their resources to do other things. But it's very cool that you're here and that you came to video people coming to a birthday party so that they can identify those people. That's very cool. And you know what? You're going to be one of the most famous PIs on the internet tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're going to be one of the most famous private investigators on the internet tomorrow. It's a birthday party, dude. It's a birthday party. Tell your boss, not today. They'll probably be able to ID a few people in your videos. But yeah, go find your buddy. Go find your buddy. You guys need to triple or double up your resources next time. See you later. Go ahead, sir.
That's pretty much it. He just him going down the escalators, what's left. Anyway, the other crazy thing about this is that this same PI shows up in a ton of other videos of PIs that I have from Los Angeles when they were following a bunch of other friends of mine around, and they were following the guy who made the BFG rap song. They were following this guy. His name was Tiziano. They were following Tiziano and somebody who had just escaped from the international base that we were kind of like hiding. And when I was watching those videos, I was like, oh, that guy looks really familiar. And then I thought, I bet you that's the PI from the Las Vegas birthday party. Anyway, sure enough, it's the exact same dude. And in one of the cars, when he's following, like they've just videoed this guy following them around for half of the day. And then when they get home, he's parked outside their house. And in the video, they're like, hey, why are you following me? He's like, I'm not following you. You're just like, dude, we have video of you following us for the entire morning. Anyway, not the smartest PI that they've ever given a job to before. But I thought I was going to cut a whole video together and do a whole, edit a whole thing. And then I thought, you know what, let me just show it to everybody. And one of these other ones, I might have to do a video on this other PI one, or maybe we can do a very similar reaction video if you guys want to. If people ask, or comment in below if you'd rather me edit a whole video together, or if I should just put it out on a stream, and then if you miss it, you can always just go watch the stream. But I figured I would come in and show you guys this, and then answer some questions or whatever. We hit 10,000 subscribers, so that's great news. The actual thing that we're trying to do in Scientology, they have a game that they play every single year, and they've been playing this game since the 1980s. And this game is played internationally by all Scientology organizations, and pretty much all Scientologists they play this really big game. And this game is called the birthday game. And L. Ron Hubbard wrote this whole issue, this whole document, about how he didn't want a tie, or he didn't want a new this, or a camera, or any kind of trinkets or anything. What he wanted was up statistics across the boards in all of Scientology. So if your job was to sell books, what he wanted for his birthday was for you to sell as many books as you possibly could, and that would be a great birthday present for him. Anyway, so when we hit the 10,000 subscribers, I thought, you know what? We should play a game to have more than 80,000 subscribers by L. Ron Hubbard's birthday, which is on March 13th. That's when his birthday is. So I'm officially launching the birthday game subscriber game that we're going to play here on the Blown for Good YouTube channel. We need to get over 80,000 subscribers. Now, why 80,000? Because 80,000 subscribers is how many Scientology's YouTube channel has. And they've been working on this YouTube channel since YouTube came out. And they got up to 80,000. So I've been doing this for I think it's about 2 weeks now. I think I started like the first few days of December, and we're up to 10,000. So it doesn't seem like it'd be that much of a stretch if we keep going at the rate we've been going. I think we could easily get up to 80,000, and then that would be the best present to give to all our girlfriends so we can celebrate. And then we can just tell Scientology, hey, look, guys, we got as many subscribers as you've got in 20 years. We got in like the last 3 or 4 months. So I think that'd be a really fun game. My sound is messed up. Your audio just went out? Wow, that's a bummer. Let me see what we got here. Hold on a second, guys. Somebody's saying my sound is check 1 2. I don't know what you're talking about. I got I'm good here. Hopefully it was it was bad for a moment. Yeah, Lord Xenu got in here. It was Xenu, or it could have been a body thetan. Oh, also, some people, I don't know if it's, I don't know where it comes from. It might be the way it's spelled. But thetan is not thetan. You don't say it thetan, you say it thetan. And a good way that I always tell people to remember it is thetan rhymes with Satan. And that's an easy way just to remember. And then that way you don't accidentally say thetan. Anyway, do dogs get thetans? I don't know. I don't actually know. I wasn't really into all the technical sides of Scientology, so I don't know a lot about the audio is fine, but you losing internet. No, I have tons of, I'm hardwired. I don't know what happened. Faded in and out. I think Scientology is really trying to attack me. My email accounts, at least 1 or 2 of my email accounts, there was a lot of phishing attempts today, which is when they kind of send you emails and they try to get you to click on them so they can do something to your computer or whatever. I had a few of those, and one of my email accounts got like locked up because there was a bunch of nonsense happening in it, and I had to go in there and fix it up. So who knows what's happening? I don't know about the sync thing either. That's probably on the YouTube side, which I'm not. I don't have that. I don't have any control over that. So I'm sorry, guys. But yeah, we got BTs. We got all kinds of nonsense. Here, I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to try to remove myself from the stream and then put it back in and see if that fixes it. And then I'll answer some questions for you guys. Here we go. I'm going to close that out. Let's put something up here. Let's put up a. We'll see what we can do here. I don't want to put a silly video up here. Okay, I'm just going to put the logo up here for a second. Just hold on. Oh yeah, see, I'm using a different interface than I normally do because I could not get my camera to show up. But I'll answer some questions regardless. Let's see what we got here. Here's a good one. Oh yeah, see, oh there we go. Okay, are thetans only the ones Xenu killed, or can they be any being that has lived in the last 75 trillion years? No. So what happened was that Lord Xenu, he took all these body thetans. He took, well, they're thetans, whatever, thetans or body thetans. He took all these souls from another planet and he brought them to Earth. There were no thetans on Earth. He brought them here, and then he froze them, and then he dropped them into a volcano. When he dropped them into the volcano, that's when they got unfrozen and they went out all over the world and they found bodies to attach themselves to. So based on that, I'm going to say that dogs probably have body thetans in the overall scheme of this. It's sort of like, it's funny that you ask, like, well, do dogs have body thetans? No one has them. It's all made up. So we could make up whatever we want to go along with it. But I genuinely do believe that the dog could have a body thetan. If a person could have a body thetan, then why couldn't a dog have a body thetan? Yes, he blew them up. Yes, Eve Grinstead saying, don't forget about the hydrogen bombs. Yeah, I think he put them in the volcano and then he blew them up with hydrogen bombs. And then that's how they escaped. Anyway, it's definitely crazy. Okay, what's this one say? Wait, people believe this crap about Thetans? Yeah, like 100%. This is what you learn when you get into Scientology and you get to OT3. That's where you learn about the body Thetans and you learn about Xenu and you learn about the whole thing. Like, I didn't know about any of that until after I left Scientology and I was watching that South Park episode that Tom Cruise won't come out of the closet. And when I was watching it, I looked over to Claire and I said, because she did up to OT5 when we were at the international headquarters. And I looked at her and I said, is this true? And she was like, yes, it is. It is true. So that's the first time I found out about it. I didn't know anything about the space aliens. I didn't know anything about the body Thetans or Lord Xenu or any of that stuff. Now I'm going to die. Clearing pet BTs in OT9. Clearing all planet life in your house is OT10. It cost about... I would say to get to OT3 is probably like $100,000 to $200,000, depending on the person, to find out about the body Thetans. So, and then as you go past, you go OT3, OT4, OT5, all the way up to OT8, and it could cost you $500,000 to get to OT8, and they only kind of bait and switch the whole way, all the way up. When you do Dianetics, you find out you have a reactive mind. And then after you do Dianetics auditing and you get to clear, you find out you created your reactive mind. And then you find out on the OT levels that the body Thetans are creating all these, they're responsible for all these negative thoughts and negative impulses you have. And then when you get up to the OT levels and you get up to OT8, you find out you created the reactive mind, you created the body Thetans, so in the end, there's nothing. You did it all. You did everything, was all from you. So, yeah, it's pretty insanity. Pretty much insane. Okay, what else do we got? Let's think. Sometimes I read these questions and I look like they're going to be good. And then somebody does something silly at the very end. Hold on. Where's that good one? Okay, here's a good one. Okay, as a Sea Org member, how did Claire get on the bridge? Okay, so when you are a public Scientologist, you have to pay to do counseling or the auditing, what they call auditing, which is where you go on the e-meter and you hold the cans and they ask you questions. And if you want to do training on how to become an auditor or how doing different courses in Scientology, if you're a public Scientologist, you have to pay for both of those things. You have to pay for your auditing and you have to pay for your training. When you become a Sea Org member, you work full-time. You don't do anything else. You don't have another job. You only work for Scientology. That's where you sign the billion-year contract. That's where you work from 8 in the morning till 11, 10, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. Every day, 7 days a week, you work for the Sea Org. When you're in the Sea Org, you're supposed to have study time. And that's supposed to be 2.5 hours a day, at least 5 days a week. You're supposed to go to study. And if you're in the Sea Org and you go to study, you can do training or you can do counseling. Now, there's not a lot of Sea Org counselors that counsel Sea Org members. So most Sea Org members just do the training stuff, if anything. And some also do auditing. It's very, very rare for a Sea Org member to get very high doing their counseling. Claire, my wife, the question was, as a Sea Org member, how did Claire get on the bridge? My wife was in the area of training people and also doing the counseling on other Sea Org members. That was her job. So as part of her job, she had to be, you can only counsel somebody as high as your training level is, or your auditing level. So like a person who has only read Dianetics can't do the counseling on somebody who's OT3. If you want to do counseling on somebody who's reached OT3, you yourself have to be OT3 or above. So because Claire was in Religious Technology Center, which is really high up, and she was in charge of counseling, or at least doing counseling type activities with people, she had to be as high as she could possibly be, because if somebody in RTC was higher than her, then she wouldn't be able to do anything with them. So that's how she got up to OT5. Okay, how did Claire escape? Claire escaped, if you want to, there's a lot of these, I'll tell you in this thing, but if you want to know the answer to a lot of these questions, it's in my book, Blown for Good, Behind the Iron Curtain of Scientology. Claire escaped a few weeks after I escaped because she had to go to a eye doctor appointment. And when I had left, so she was under extra scrutiny and extra watch. Whenever a spouse escapes or blows, which is an unauthorized departure from Scientology, when a spouse escapes, then they really watch the other one that's still there, because they know that person's most likely going to try to escape too. So they keep extra eyes on that person. They changed, Claire had like a Nextel phone. They took that phone away, gave her a different phone, so that I wouldn't be able to call her. And then they had people like basically kind of watching over her. Well, because she had to go to this eye appointment to get new contacts, which she really didn't have to go to, but she said, oh, I've got an eye appointment. I got to go get some contacts. And oh my goodness, I got to save this one. So she went, a girl actually who was her junior, that was a girl that Claire was the boss of, was basically assigned to watch Claire and to take her to the eye doctor appointment and go with her so that she wouldn't be able to escape and run off. And they went on, I don't have super chats, Roar. Please put on super chats. I don't have that yet. My channel's got to, be here long enough before they let me do that kind of craziness. Anyway, she's going to Walmart. That's where the eye doctor was for the people there, the Sea Org. That's because they have the best. No, it's because it's the cheapest possible place you can go to get glasses or contacts in Hemet, near where we were. Anyway, so the parking lot was really full at the Walmart. So Claire said, hey, I'm going to jump out. And so it was like right when the eye appointment was. So she said, hey, I'm just going to jump out and run into the appointment. I'll meet you in there. Anyway, so Claire gets out of the car. She runs in the entrance to Walmart while the girl's driving around looking for a parking space. Claire runs across the store to the other entrance. As she's going into the Walmart, she sees a cab that she had set up to pick her up at this Walmart at this exact time. And the cab is already waiting at the other entrance. So she runs in the store. She runs across. She gets out. She gets in the cab. And then she's like, okay, take me to the bus station. She's driving. And then that girl that was there to watch Claire calls her and says, hey, where are you at? And Claire's like, oh, I just had to run into the bathroom real quick. I'll be right out. Meanwhile, she's in a cab driving. The cab driver's looking at her like, what the what? You're in the bathroom? Okay, whatever. Anyway, and then, probably like 5 minutes later, the girl was like, oh, she's gone. Anyway, that was it. That was the last time anybody there saw or did anything with Claire at the international base. So that's how she that's how she escaped. Okay, let's see this one. Do you know the young girl who stood in the in-base kitchen sink to wash dishes is still there? Do you know if that young girl who stood in the in-base kitchen sink to wash dishes is still there? Yes, her name is Heather, and as far as I know, she is still there. Her father and her brother have both escaped and are out, but she is still there. Yes, this is somebody who's read my book. They remember that when I was doing the Sea Org indoctrination, there was a girl there who was so small. One of the girls that was going into the Sea Org, I mean, she couldn't have been more than 10 or 11. And part of our detail was scrubbing all the pots and pans for everyone that was eating in these giant mess halls that were there in Los Angeles. And I think I was 15 at the time when I did that program. And this girl was so small that she couldn't wash any dishes from outside the sink because she couldn't even get her hands over. So we just picked her up and put her in the sink, and she washed the dishes in the sink. So yes, that's a real thing. That really did happen. How does it feel to say Terran and Xenu in the aftermath of all things? Tehran. I don't know what Tehran is, but I don't care about Xenu. Xenu, I think Xenu and I are on the same page. I'm not into the whole blowing up souls in volcanoes with hydrogen bombs, but being like the number one Scientology bad guy, that does sound sort of appealing. So I'm cool with that. What's here we go. Are Mike's kids getting treated good or no? Well, Mike's got 3 kids. So he has one that lives with him now that he had with Christy, and that kid gets treated great. Taryn Rinder, or Taryn Teutsch, I think her name is now. She has all sorts of medical issues, so I'm not sure exactly how she's being treated, but she's probably being treated better than she was because they have to keep her looking okay because she does all these videos, these hate videos all the time. And so at least she's getting her hair did and her nails did and all that stuff, because a lot of times people there's a lot of roots growing out in the Sea Org, if you know what I mean. There's not a lot of visits to the hair salon happening. So she's probably treating better than she was. Something really crazy about Mike's son, though, which I think his name is Benjamin. Yeah, Benjamin, BJ. Benjamin, I think, is Mike's son's name, who is still in the Sea Org. There's a video on the internet somewhere of Mike and Marty Rathbun going to the Flag Land Base to go see, hey, we want to see Benjamin. When they were doing that, Mike's son Benjamin was on the inside trying to escape and trying to leave the Sea Org. And he didn't know that Mike was trying to get in to see him, and Mike didn't know that Benjamin was trying to get out. That's a really crazy story. And Benjamin never did end up getting out, and he's still there as far as I know. Let's see here. I think that answers that question. Do you have any intel on Miscavige losing his mind over the traction you and Mike and Aaron's success? Well, the only intel that I have is that since we started speaking up, they have tried just about everything to shut us up. And that's the only kind of barometer that we have. So a lot of people are like, oh, don't you get worried when they're sending private investigators and messing with you and doing all this sort of thing? To me, that's sort of like, oh, we're doing the right thing. Because if we were just, if Aaron and I were doing whatever we were doing and we didn't hear a peep out of them and it was like, crickets, then it'd be like, oh, we got to do something else. We're not getting any kind of reaction, but we are getting all sorts of reactions. So yeah, I think we're doing good. I think we're doing right. I am definitely lost on the body Thetan part. Yeah. No, don't worry. That's the first mistake a lot of people make, is trying to make sense of Scientology. If you're confused, that's perfectly the exact right thing to be, because there's nothing straightforward about anything that we've talked about here. Okay. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, keep poking the bear. Oh, here's a good one. Does Scientology fair game the Aftermath Foundation? That's a great question. Aaron, I think, just did a video on that the other day, but the answer is yes, they do it all the time. I didn't really oh, wow. It said that, I wonder what this Eve gal, I don't know exactly. I see her a lot in the comments on my stuff and Aaron's stuff, and she says Benjamin works at the hotel pool if that's treated good. I don't know. I don't know if that's true, but if so, then yeah, that's that. I mean, that could be. It's better. It's not the worst job you can have. Okay, this is a good one. How come it said you must escape and make big secret plans to do so, but then it said you can leave as long as you don't say anything bad about Scientology? Which one is it? A little confusing. Okay, good. Ness G, thank you. That's a great question. If you work at the INT base, you're not allowed to leave the Sea Org. Okay, that's sort of just like the overriding rule. Now, with anything comes exceptions. If you're married and your wife gets pregnant, that's a free ticket out. Okay, it didn't used to be. It used to be if your wife got pregnant, then she was pressured to not have the baby. Now they don't do that because it's been exposed. That's what they used to do. So now they still kind of like, well, you probably should stay, and kind of hint, 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 wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But they can't just outright say you have to go to the clinic and be done with that. So a lot of people end up leaving. Okay, now if you leave like that's a good example. If you have a kid and you leave and you just don't say anything bad about Scientology, it's very likely they'll keep track and keep tabs on you. But as long as you're not creating problems for them, then they won't create any problems for you, for the most part. They still want you to be involved in Scientology, and they're still going to keep an eye on you, and they still might spy on you here and there, and might have friends in your camp that are kind of report up if you say anything negative or whatever. Okay. If you blow from the international headquarters, which is an unauthorized leave, if you blow or escape, and then don't say anything, again, you could probably just disappear and live your life. If you leave, whether you had a baby or you escaped or you do anything, and then you talk smack about Scientology, they're gonna mess with you. You're kind of like, it's gonna happen. So that's sort of what happened with me. I left, and then I could see that there was a little bit of silliness going on, and also I started to find out all these things were bull after I left, more and more things, and then I realized, oh, these guys are criminals, and that's the part where you go, do I not say anything and just live my life and not have to worry about them messing with me? Or should I try to protect other people so they don't get sucked in and all the nonsense happens to them as well? And I decided it probably would be better just to expose them and mess with them. So it is what it is. You got to do it. Somebody's asking about how Aaron got out of the Sea Org. I'm not sure. Here, we'll put it up. I don't know the answer, but that's not the one. So how Aaron got out of the Sea Org? He was only an SP after he wouldn't disconnect from his mom. I'm pretty sure that that Aaron and his wife might have had kids. Or might have had a kid, and that's how they got out. I'm not sure. I don't know. You'll have to ask Aaron on his channel. I'm sorry. Get on there and do some super chat action with him, and he'll find out. Let's see here. What time is it? We got a few more minutes. I'll keep going. Hi from Parker, Colorado. Hey from Parker, Colorado. Holly. Yeah, we're not far from you there, Holly. Okay, let's see here. Okay, let's see this one. If a young Sea Org member got transferred to the Gold Base for the first time, would he know who Marc Yeager is or Norman Starkey, etc., and what would happen if he got talking to them? No, you could talk to whoever you want. You just have to say sir or yes, sir, or Mr., or whatever it is before you talk to them. But you don't get in trouble for talking to those people. When I went to the INT base, I barely knew who David Miscavige was. I found out real quick who he was when I got there. Yeah, you wouldn't get in trouble. But you wouldn't be a young... Most there's not a lot of people, Sea Org members, going to the INT base anymore. anyway, so there's not really that's not really something to worry about these days. What's this one say? Hello, did you ever think you would be friends with Mike Render? No, actually I didn't. When I was there at the base, I wasn't really buddies with Mike, but we weren't enemies. There's some people that there's a lot of people that want to like rat you out or get you in trouble, just because that's the way the whole culture is there. It's a very us versus them full time. There's never just peace. It's sort of like, it's just always, there's always drama, and there's always fights happening, and this department or division fighting with this, or this organization fighting this, or it is literally a cluster. That whole place is a giant cluster, and you can read about that in the book as well. I really go into that. Don't forget to hit the like button, and also don't forget to hit the subscribe button. There's 350 people in here, and I've got a little cheat hack here that says a bunch of you haven't subscribed yet. I don't have that, but probably it might be some of you people that haven't subscribed. You should do that. Okay. How come nobody goes after auditors for not reporting? Oh yeah. And abuse their mandatory reporters in California. The Scientologists are encouraged not to go to law enforcement. That's the short answer to that question. So if something comes up in a session, your immediate thought is to write a report and report that, not to go to the police. That's never happening. There's never getting counseling. Somebody admits to something and then they call the police. That's not a procedure. That's not what they do. That's how that is. California or not. Willie Weed also, I see you, Willie. Willie Weed here is also a frequenter of these. I've seen him in Aaron's chats as well as some of these lives that I've been doing. If asbestos is on the free winds, why isn't it forced to dock repairs? Asbestos was on the free winds, and I know they did a lot of renovations to get as much of that out as possible. The asbestos on the free winds thing comes from when it was being renovated, I want to say in the late 80s or early 90s. Actually, it was definitely the 80s. And there was a Scientology architect that was being used to design and do things. And he's the one who saw the asbestos and was like, hey, we got to send up the red flag. But because L. Ron Hubbard, this is so crazy, because L. Ron Hubbard never said asbestos was bad, it's not bad. Whatever the medicos say, that doesn't matter. Scientologists, and I'm going to tell you, this is how it was when I was there. If you said there's asbestos, it would be like, okay, whatever. But if you said there was fiberglass, you'd have a full hazmat suit on, because L. Ron Hubbard said that fiberglass is the worst thing in the world. And if you find it, you got to get rid of it, and you got to wear masks, and you got to put gloves on, and you can't do anything with fiberglass. But because he never said that about asbestos, they're like, yeah, asbestos, just grab a bucket of it. It's kind of crazy. Wow, there's a lot in here. 372. We're doing pretty good. Let's keep it going. I think I'll go for another few more minutes. As long as you guys keep giving up good questions, I'll go. Elron would say smoking cigarettes would cure the lungs. Yes, Elron would say smoking cigarettes would cure the lungs anyway. This is true. And there is some writing somewhere where L. Ron Hubbard said, smoking doesn't give you cancer. Not smoking enough gives you cancer. That's a real thing. He really did say that. What's this one say? I want to read a book by Claire. Okay. Well, she's going to have to write one then. Click the thumbs up button, SPs. Yeah, there's a lot of people just saying to do that. I want to get some questions here. Here's one. Hi, Jess. I guess she's talking to somebody else in the chat here. Someone tried to recruit me outside the Toronto Church of Scientology while I was walking down Yonge Street just below Bloorback. I don't know what Bloorback is, but I guess that's a Toronto thing. In the early 80s, I piloted, cleansed, and continued to walk on my merry way. Good for you. Yeah. Drove by Gold Base and Twin Peaks. So Twin Peaks is the underground vault that they have in the mountains right up in near Big Bear. I think it's called Running Springs or Crestline. And then the Gold Base, Int Base is the same thing. And this is a really funny thing because if you're a Scientologist, you're not allowed to know where the Gold Base is. So it's like a super, super secret property. And it's a confidential location for all people in Scientology, including if you're in the Sea Org. If you're in the Sea Org and you work in Los Angeles, you're not allowed to know where the Int Base is. And the funny thing is the Int Base is set up as like a kind of like, it's kind of like a little Disneyland park in the middle of the desert. So if you're driving by, there's a giant sign that says Golden Era Productions. So if you were driving by and you were a Scientologist, you'd be like, oops, we just drove by the Int Base. And you can actually now, I think I've posted so many things and I've also tagged it on Google Maps. So if you go into Google Maps and say Int Base or Gold Base, it'll take you right to the property. I'm sure Scientology didn't like it when I did that, but it's fun. Lots of things are fun. I subbed when you announced the channel with AA Ron. Good. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Yeah, I know there's a lot of people in here from AA Ron's channel. That's awesome. We're good. I send people his way. He sends people my way. This is a great one. How is Catherine Olsen doing? Well, I'll show you. Look at this. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, come on. Please be in here. You got to be in here. Oh, look who's in the chat. Catherine Olsen. Dang it. I didn't know you were live. So that's your question. I think that's a answer to your question. She's doing good enough to be jumping in the chat here. I think I don't know. I don't think she'd mind me saying this, but Catherine has a boyfriend now. And Catherine is, she's got a car. She's got a boyfriend. She's got a place to live. Seems like she's doing pretty good to me. Let's get some more questions. Anybody got any more questions? You can never get Aaron to answer because he only answers super chats. I hear it all the time. Oh my goodness. Here's a good one. Anthony says, "Hey, Catherine, hope you're doing well." She really is doing good. She's amazing. She, I don't know if she talked about it. She did an interview. Oh yeah, here we go. Right here. Catherine. No, that's not Catherine. These chats, they're moving so fast. I gotta be quick on the draw. She said, Aaron and I did an interview. Yeah, Catherine did an interview with Aaron on his channel. You can go over and see that. And I think that'll kind of catch you up on all the stuff that Catherine Olsen did. She's doing good. Here's a good one. I like this one. I'm going to answer this one. It said, were you ever a true believer or did you just feel stuck because it's how you grew up and really knew no better? I think that was probably more, I would say that's more accurate. I grew up in it. They really got me at a vulnerable point when I was 15 years old. I was working at my school that I was going to. I was having to pay rent, support myself, figure out how to get to school and back from school, trying to do side hustles at night with no vehicle. And this is in the late 1980s. And I was like, I was in a bad spot. And when they said, oh, you don't have to work, you don't have to do school anymore, you don't have to work, I was just like, that's what happened. And then I was there for 15 years. Sucks to suck. Was Hubbard, this is a great one. Was Hubbard ever planning to take the money and run? No, he was taking the money and running the whole entire time. One of the stories that I heard from one of the people that was with Hubbard at the very end was that there was a guy, his name was Pat Broker. Pat and his wife Annie were the main Commodore's messengers that were taking care of L. Ron Hubbard when he was getting up in his last years on this planet. And he was doing all kinds of crazy stuff. But one of the things that he would have them do is he thought that people were stealing his money, which he wasn't too far off. But he was demanding that bankers' boxes of cash would be delivered to him at this ranch in Creston, California. And so people were bringing bankers' boxes full of cash to him every week. And this was going on so long that L. Ron Hubbard's bedroom was like a hoarder bedroom, but instead of newspapers, it was bankers' boxes of cash. So like there was like a path to his bed around all these boxes. There was like an empty path to get to where he slept. And then it was so much that we're like, hey, we can't keep the boxes anymore. So they started putting them out in the barn, one of the barns that had horses in it. They started stacking the bankers' boxes of cash in the barn. So was he ever planning to take the money and run? Yes, he was planning that, very much so. And he wasn't doing anything with the cash. He was just hoarding it because he was crazy. The last period in his life, not only was he crazy, but he was taking psychiatric drugs to make him not crazy, which is like the one thing that he said no Scientologist could ever do. If you took any kind of psychiatric, psychotropic, or any kind of drugs for mental illness, you would immediately be disqualified from getting any kind of counseling in Scientology. So kind of crazy that he was dipping into the old pills himself. What else we got here? I'm gonna go 7 more minutes, and that's it. I'm shutting it down. Who is this? Oh my goodness. You guys have some really this is a great one. Oh, I should totally do a video about this. Is there still secrets buried in New Mexico? Yes, there is. Okay, so I think this is going to be the last question because I'm going to tell you guys some crazy now. In New Mexico, California, I think in Washington, and maybe one other location, there are underground vaults that have everything L. Ron Hubbard ever wrote or said etched into gold records, if it's a audio, and into stainless steel plates. His words are etched into the plates. Just thousands and thousands and thousands of these plates. They're in a case or like a cabinet that is hermetically sealed and pumped with argon gas into it. And if there's any kind of paper, it's acid-free paper. It's all the underground vault's all climate controlled, and all of this stuff is in an underground bunker that's built into a mountain that's nuclear proof. And they have, I want to say they have 3 or 4 of these. And yeah, there's one of those in New Mexico. It's in a place called, I'm probably butchering the pronunciation, but I think it's called Trementina. And I have actually driven there from Colorado. There's a BBC reporter named John Sweeney who flew to Colorado, and we drove together to that secret base in New Mexico. And it was an adventure. And that is a whole entire chapter of my new book whenever it comes out. But there is a video online. There was a book written by John Sweeney called Church of Fear. And on YouTube, there is a trailer for that book that I shot with John of us going to this place in New Mexico. And I have all of the original footage, and I was thinking about doing a video on that. Anyway, it's pretty crazy. So, yes, there are still secrets buried in New Mexico. Nuclear proof mountains. What a villain. Oh yeah, you betcha. Oh, here we go. This is a great one. This is the perfect follow-up question. If they are so hidden, how are aliens and so supposed to find these bunkers? Okay, this is a really good question. And L. Ron Hubbard thought of a really good answer. They have a symbol, and it's 2 circles with 2 diamonds, or like some kind of diamond shape in the middle of these circles that are touching it. It's like, what are those? I think it's called a Zen diagram, where the circles kind of cross over each other. It looks like the starting of a Zen diagram with some diamonds in the middle of it. You know what it actually looks like? It looks like the logo for Cool cigarettes. It looks just like that. And there's one of those that's about the size, maybe the size of a football field or 2. This logo is made out of grass, and like they grade the dirt to make this giant logo, so that if you're a Thetan, or I guess somebody who's looking for a body, I don't know, if you're a spirit and you're going above the earth, you'll see this logo and you'll be like, oh, this is where all the technology is. I think that's the kind of, or that's like, it's like a wayfinding to be able to find these vaults. The thing is that, first of all, if there's like a nuclear, the whole purpose of this is like, if there's a nuclear war, then all this technology has been preserved and humanity can start over with Scientology. But the thing I find funny about this is it's nuclear proof. How are you going to get in there? And how are you going to find it if it's in the middle of the desert? John Sweeney and I, when we drove there, we could barely find it. We had no GPS. We had no cell service. We had no nothing. And we couldn't find the place. And we knew where we were going. We could barely find it. I don't know how you're going to accidentally stumble upon it after the apocalypse. So there seems to be some, there does seem to be a few holes in Hubbard's plan. Anyway, I think that's going to be the last one, guys. I really appreciate everybody jumping in here. Thanks for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, click subscribe, click the like button, comment below if there's some stories or there's something I've said somewhere else that you want me to do a video on or anything like that. Let me know in the comments. And then, yeah, I think we're good. I think that's it. It is, it's almost 10 o'clock. It was good timing. Google Earth. Okay, let's see what we got here. Let's get the, I got to get this outro going here. We got to take that off. I always got to remember this. You got to take the comment off before you do the end of the video, Mark. Okay, until next time, see you guys later. Thanks.